Welcome on in, everybody, to Broad Street Sports, your home for the best Philly sports talk every single day and unfiltered. I appreciate you guys all for joining and coming in today. It's odd time, 2 o'clock. We usually do our shows late at night, but we have a very special guest on today's show. The Philly sports talk legend himself, Mr. Angelo Cataldi. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Ryan. I don't work late at night. You know that. I work 6 to 10 in the morning for 33 years. But
right.
Thanks for accommodating my schedule.
Oh, of course. We greatly appreciate you coming on. So everybody, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. We have a great show ready for you. So where I want to start this is, obviously, we're in the midst of a pretty mediocre Phillies trade deadline. From my standpoint, I believe, for me, a mediocre trade deadline. And now we're in the playoff push to see where they're going to go if they can get into November. So I want to hear, before we get into where we are with the push, I just want to know how you feel about the trade deadline, because I believe it was just, Duran was a great pickup. I really enjoyed that, and he's been lights out. Bader, it was a good move, but I just don't believe that was the power bat that Dombrowski and everybody said that we needed. I just don't see where that is the guy that's going to get you over the hump.
All I can tell you is, man, it was love at first sight for me and Duran. I just love the way this guy throws a baseball. I've never seen anything like that. 103.3 miles per hour. That's what they need the most, especially with Alvarado not being around for the playoffs this year. They're not going to worry about the ninth inning. They're not. And that's so big in the playoffs. So, no, I applaud Dave Dombrowski. I think Bader is a nice addition as well, because they haven't gotten much out of center field. And he's a heck of a center fielder and can crush left-handed pitching. He fits in very nicely with Marsh. I think he did a great job. And here's the other thing you got to know, Ryan. I don't believe in baseball prospects. I think most of these guys, I can't give that guy. Oh, Mick Abel. Wow, how could I do that? Most of them never make it. And when I say most, I mean 95%. You hear these names, and then next year there's a whole nother set of names. No, Dombrowski realizes he's got to maximize these years because it's Harper's, he's in his 30s now. They got a shot. And with Duran, they've got a better shot. So I give them high grades. And you know me, I'm always looking for something to bitch about. But I'm not going to bitch about the trade deadline. I think Dombrowski did what he needed to do.
Well, like I said, the Duran trade, this is lights out. This is who we were looking for a long time. And we haven't had a legitimate closer like him, in forever, it feels like. Even when we had Hoffman and we had Estevez, none of them were this guy, one, and none of them were this set closer that we could trust in the high leverage spots. You have Duran coming in, the light show, the entire stadium goes dark, everybody with their phone flashlights, and this guy's out there. Yeah, and he's going out there. I don't even think he threw a ball below 100 miles an hour on Sunday night. How crazy is that? No,
I love it. You know how hard it is to find a guy like. I'll give you a historical reference for the last time they had a closer like that. 2008, Brad Lidge, and we had a parade.
Yeah.
This is, believe me, if you're in a big playoff game and you got a one-run lead and it's the ninth inning and you're waving Duran in, you feel a heck of a lot better than you did all these years since Lidge was 48 for 48. I'm sorry, this guy, I love him. I think wow, I don't care what they gave up for him. This guy's amazing. And I love just watching him. And you're right, that whole theater as you ride in and you got the flames behind. Oh, it's great.
And you got this it's literally, it seems like WWE. Like, you watching WWE and you're coming in and it's something you would never expect in baseball. It's insane. And not only are they putting a show on for this guy, but he's putting a show on for everybody else. So it's like,
Well, why are you complaining about Dombrowski?
I'm complaining. No. I'm complaining about Dombrowski because I don't think Harrison Bader is the power bat that that this team needed. Like I told you, I'm very happy with Duran. I just don't believe that Bader is a guy that can get you over the hump. Is he better than Kepler? He's better than Rojas, who ultimately got sent down, and he's better than Marsh. But I just don't see a world where the whole, everybody besides for Castellanos is an out, like lacking power, lacking contact, lacking batting average. And your guy you bring in is Bader. I like him, but when they brought him in, I was thinking they were going to go out and bring another guy in. And
you can't get everything. I thought, look, here's the thing. The way Schwarber's hitting home runs right now, you don't have to worry about power. You have to worry about contact. Make contact. Get those runners from third with less than 2 outs. As long as they can do enough of that, and they've got that starting rotation, which is excellent. All right. I'm not a big fan of Leonardo. The other 3 guys are phenomenal. And I got to believe that, with this guy at the end of the bull who's going to take care of your 9th inning, you got a shot. No one knows how those things play out, Ryan. You're going to find as you get older that you can try to check box and do everything right, and then 3 guys get hurt the last week and you're out. Right. So, a lot of it is luck and a good shot. And I thought that Dombrowski did what you could have hoped for him to do with that. I give him a B+.
I would definitely give him in the B. Now, where I look at this is, and I said this on my post-game show last night, is that this Phillies team, the past 4 nights since Duran got here, since Bader got here, has been potentially the most electric brand of baseball I've seen them play all year. Yeah. And it looks like they're finally having fun out there. And not saying that they weren't having fun before, but it looks like they're playing with a different intensity. It looks like they're just having fun now. And that's a good place to be when you're looking to go and win a World Series, because before they're playing uptight. But it's just, I think ultimately, the bullpen, you finally stabilized the back half of your bullpen. You finally have a great closer. You're going to utilize Kirkring. You're going to be able to eat some innings with Alvarado when he finally comes back. So when I look at this, it all comes down to, can the offense stay consistent? Last night, I'm not expecting them to put up 13 runs every night, but can they get runs? Can they get runs early and not take their foot off the gas? I think that is their biggest problem. Honestly,
you're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you. I don't disagree with what you said. I just last night, look, I've watched a lot of baseball in my life.
Right.
I've never seen a play that looked to me like in replay was an out. They challenged it. They looked at this thing for 5 minutes. Is he safe? Is he out? Rio Muto. And then they finally say safe, which surprised me, but I was happy about it. 8 runs. This is the final out. They got 8 runs after that. I don't think that's ever happened.
It seemed like an inning that was never going to end. It seemed like an inning that was never going to end. And that's the way it has to be. That's the way that this team has to play, is when you get in those situations and when you get guys on base and you start to square, you can't take your foot off the gas just because you got a little bit of runs. You have to, step on these guys' throats. And look, Baltimore isn't that good of a baseball team this year as they were last year, 2 years ago. But that's the way you're supposed to play when you play a team like that. When you play a team like Chicago, like the White Sox, when you had a hard time beating them. So that it just is. I don't know if I'm exactly there yet, and I want to get your take on this because I've heard a lot. I've been listening to WIP this morning. I had a couple callers last night, people in the comments. People believe that they are maybe flipping a page. The Phillies, they're finally turning the page and heading where we all knew that they could play. And I wanted to get your take on that. Are they finally where they need to be, and they're just going to take off now?
I don't know. No one knows. They don't know. All right. The thing about 162 baseball seasons is there are so many ebbs and flows. So even let's just say they hit their stride and they're doing great for the next 3 weeks, and they get a nice lead in the division. Does that matter when there's still another 3 or 4 weeks to go before you get the playoffs? To me, get as advantageous a place in the playoffs as you can be, and hope you're hitting stride at the right time. Oh, it's almost impossible to totally orchestrate being at your peak when you need to be at your peak. So there's no way to know that. You know what? Just enjoy the theater of seeing Durant come onto the field.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. That's what this is. This is entertainment. Enjoy it. Just sit back and go, wow, we got a guy who throws the ball harder than any Phillies pitcher in history. This guy routinely throws it over 100 miles an hour. I just enjoy that. It's fantastic.
And he does it with ease. He literally just goes up there and does it. It looks like he's not even trying to throw 100 miles an hour.
I want to be him for one day. I just want to know what that feels like. Let go of the ball and it just, and it's in for 100. It's being the guy who has to hit that. No thanks.
No, I'd be the guy. I'd be the guy standing at the back of the batter. I ain't even going to go up there and try and swing. I'm not even. No, I ain't going to time that up. You could just strike me out. And that's and in all seriousness, that is what Durant brings to you in a postseason game, where you're in. I mean, look. Let's just say it's Game 6, NLCS. You're playing the Dodgers. Let's just say you're playing the Dodgers. Right, and you go in there and you have to get 3 outs from your closer. I could shut my eyes and trust that Duran would get that job done. And in all seriousness,
let's make it more fun. All right, it's Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman.
Right,
and I still like chances because that guy's throwing 103. I still like my chances. I didn't until this guy came in. That's exactly, put it in the perfect term. That could be how it comes down to in the NLCS. Will he be able to get the 3 best hitters out in a 1 game in the 9th inning? I'll take my chances with 103 miles an hour.
Yeah, and even if he does, allow guys to put contact, so I trust the defense. I do ultimately trust the defense that's behind him. And let's not people don't realize how hard it is to hit a 103 mile an hour pitch. I mean, that.
Hit it. I can't see it.
It's impossible to hit that. It's crazy. So, and I said this when I first saw him pitch Friday night when he came in and we first saw the light show. Him being here brings this team to a new level, not only from the bullpen, but just him being here. He's bringing a new fight. He's electric, and this team's playing now with a swagger where they feel comfortable with a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead, and they're okay with turning over to the bullpen. And that's something we haven't had because let's say Wheeler, who's in his past couple starts, have not had his best stuff, and there's times where Ranger hasn't had his best stuff. So we've had those types of things, and we've had a hard time feeling comfortable switching it over to the bullpen, trusting Romano to come in and shut the door, trusting Kirkring. Yeah, so nobody's trusted that. Now you go in there and it's like a 1-run lead, 2-run lead. I believe we can get out of there with a win. Not only do I believe, I know, I literally know we could get out of there with a win because we have he's one of the best, not even one of the best, if not the best closer in the league.
Yep, I love him. I'm with you. You've talked me into it. I've talked you into giving Dombrowski some credit. He deserves it. He did a good job.
Yeah, I just again, and you're kind of talking me into really liking this trade deadline, and also you are, because I haven't really thought of it in the perspective that we do have one of the best closers in the game. And Bader, and a guy called into my show last night, Alex from South Jersey. I don't know if he's watching. So he calls into my show last night, and he says, I've never seen Kepler Rojas or Marsh hit a ball as hard and as far as Bader did last night.
He
And
crushed it. You're right.
He cranked it.
Yep.
And now, like, I was, after the show ended, I was thinking about it, and I was like, look, I've never seen Rojas hit a home run like that. I've never seen Marsh and Kepler. It's like line drive home runs here and there, and now he's batting 200. So this guy, and one thing I'll say is Bader seems like he has a real power bat. Somewhere in him, he has power, and we need to find like how to tap into that. We need to have him tap into that.
Look, this is they are. We just got to wait it out now and see if they're going to be good enough in the big games. And if the manager, for once in his life, manages with the sense of urgency he needs to. If Wheeler's throwing a one-hitter after 7 innings and he's pitched 109 pitches, 105 pitches, whatever it is, put your ace back on the mound in the 8th inning and get some more outs. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Don't manage to analytics in the playoffs. All right. That's your problem. You want to know, Ryan, what the problem is? The problem is your manager. The manager is a robot. He doesn't look at a situation and react to it. As long as he gives his best players a chance to take him to a championship, they have a chance to do it. He hasn't done that the last 3 years. And frankly, if he doesn't do it this year, I wouldn't bring him back. That's my own opinion.
So you're like a Rob Thompson hater.
I hate Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson, to me, is the most annoying manager I have ever witnessed managing the Phillies, because he is just, between the fact that he does everything by analytics, by an algorithm. This is what I do, and he never deviates from it. And then after a game, you never get a straight answer on anything he was thinking. No, I can't stand the guy. I don't think he's good. I think he's a bad manager. I think he's cost them 1 championship so far. And if they don't get it this year, I'll make it 2. Because the guy is just, I'm sorry, he's not the answer. He may be fun to play for. They may enjoy playing for him. In big moments, he chokes. And I anticipate he will again. Now with Duran, there's less chance of a choke because you just put that guy and let him throw 103 miles an hour and celebrate. So hopefully he is kind of idiot-proof to some degree, the process of managing the Phillies. But Thompson stinks. And by the way, so does Kepler. He's no good either.
He sucks. I thought that they were going to move on from him at the deadline, whether it was release him, DFA him, or you're going to trade him. I thought he was one of the major priorities to get him out. I thought you can have somebody who's on a 1-year contract, $10 million, and he's up there playing every single day.
He's bad. I agree with you on that.
And it's
bad. But every team has holes. Every team has holes. If you're looking for the perfect team, it's not going to happen. So you just hope that your holes don't get exposed when you get to the biggest games.
Yeah. It's just, and on your Rob Thompson point there, where you said he's like a robot and he does things where he says, I do this for a specific reason. I'm not going to change from it. And we look at it when the whole discussion with taking Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot, and he was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm going to experiment here with Turner, experiment here with Schwarber, but Schwarber's our leadoff guy. But we can't, even though he's a good leadoff hitter, we can't seem to win with Schwarber in that spot in the order. But he didn't want to switch off from him, and so I get what you're saying, and it's like at the same time we have Duran who can shut down games. And not only can he pitch the 9th inning, but if he has to come in and get an out or 2 in the 8th and then go back out for the 9th, I trust he could do that as well. Yeah. It's just I don't know if Rob can consistently be in his mind is like, let's put Duran in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the predicament is. You know what I mean?
Again, that might require your closer to get 4 or 5 outs. Is Rob willing to take that horrible risk? Risk that the guy will implode on the mound after he hits 22 pitches or whatever the pitch limit is. Now, Ryan, the analytics in its place is fine, but so out of control right now. And Thompson is the #1 violator. And
He is.
Thompson's going to have to get it right this time. He's just going to have to get it right. If he doesn't get it right, he needs to leave ASAP. Yeah. He's the biggest problem on that team is the manager. That's all I'll tell you. I've seen a lot of baseball. He's the problem.
It's just, I thought he was gone after last year. You lose to your division rival, and you have your team come out with no confidence, no urgency. And again, that no urgency and that no swag, that kind of comes from the manager. Your manager doesn't coach with urgency. He doesn't come out with a fire. The team didn't come out with it, and that falls on Rob in a way. And I thought he was gone. If it wasn't him, I thought Kevin Long was gone. I thought they had them shake up.
Let me explain how he's gone. If Bryce Harper said to Dave Dombrowski after last season, "I don't like playing for Rob Thompson," he would have been gone. I'm sure he said to Dombrowski, "No, Rob is great. He's not the problem," because Rob's running a country club, and these players love playing for him. He doesn't have anybody accountable. He's so easygoing. He defends them all publicly, so they want to play for him. That worked for a while. And then when you haven't won year after year after year, they have to do something. But Harper, as long as he's got Harper's approval, he gets a 4th try at this. But that's my fear. My fear is he'll blow it, at which point I hope at least they'd know enough to get rid of him.
Yeah, and that's just that's just where I don't want to be, is where, and I know a lot of the major teams are taking their decisions from their star players. I totally get that. But at what point does Middleton, not Dombrowski, Middleton say, "Look, I'm forking out $1 billion here. My manager's not cutting it. I don't care what Harper says. I don't care what Dombrowski says. He's gone." When does that?
Middleton won't do that. Middleton, to his credit, doesn't try to be the GM. He would fire Dombrowski before he would tell Dombrowski to fire Thompson. In other words, his job is Dombrowski. He's the one who put Dombrowski there. The owner gets to decide that. Once Dombrowski's in place, you got to defer to him on who he wants as his manager. The owner can't throw his weight around to that extent. Dombrowski wouldn't do it. I know that. So really, it just comes down to whether or not Dave has seen enough if this doesn't work out and makes the move. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We got this great closer. Maybe he'll make Thompson look smart for a change.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that would be great. That'd be great. So we have a couple Phillies call-ins and for voicemails on the Anytime hotline. Love to let's take a listen. Let's respond to them. Let's hear what the fans out there have to say. Let's go to Alex in South Jersey first.
Hey, Broad Street and Angelo. I love leaving call-ins for you guys. I'm a daily caller. But I just wanted to get both your opinions on, the trade deadline. Why would Dave Dombrowski send down Rojas to bring in Bader? I obviously think Bader's a much better player, and everybody knows it. But, why not try and trade Rojas if we're just going to, send him back down to AAA? We already got Crawford in center field. Now Rojas is playing left field. Like, what good is that going to do for Rojas? Might as well trade him, get something for him. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. I like, and if you think about that, we're moving him down. He's been up and down in the lineup. He was a starter. Then he was sitting the bench. Now he's back down and playing left field. If they weren't confident, and I've never been a Rojas guy, but if they weren't confident in what he could bring to the table, why not? I mean, you could have gotten him back for, a bag of chips, and at least he's off this roster. But
that's the thing. What are you going to get? You guys just said basically he's not a very good player. You're right. What are you going to get? So you could DFA, just let him go, but he's still got some value. He's got versatility. I'm sure there was not a lot of bidding going on to get Almundo Sosa from the other teams looking for something. I wouldn't worry about him. He's not going to determine the fate of the team. He's just an extra player. There's a lot of those guys. Don't worry about him.
Right. So he also brought up in that phone call, Justin Crawford. Now, again, another thing, people want to bring him up. People, they don't know. You can't call in. Look, a lot of guys want to call. Look, people want to bring up Crawford. People don't want to bring up Crawford. Where is your stance on bringing up Justin Crawford to be the everyday center fielder or left fielder if you want to put Bader there?
Well, you already know you're not doing that once you get Bader. So that's not going to happen. You don't know. You can't project. This is where scouts become really important, not analytics scouts. They look at a kid and they go, is he ready? What's his strikeout rate? How's he handling a breaking ball? How good is he in big moments? That kind of stuff. And, I got to say this. I know I'm coming across as a Dombrowski guy, and I've done plenty of criticizing of the GM. But I do respect whether he thinks that Crawford's ready, and he doesn't. So, okay, that's fine with me. I accept that. I go with what you got. I said to you a few minutes ago, Ryan, I'm not a big guy with prospects. Most of these guys don't end up making it. Even if they're tearing it up at AAA, they come up. There's usually a period of transition. Do you want to endure that? Do you want him to strike out a couple of times with the bases loaded while he's feeling his way? Not when you're going for a championship.
Right.
Clearly they're going, he's coming, but not yet. Let's stick with this stuff. And I accept that. I think that they know what they're doing.
I want to feel him out. I don't want to rush him up. I do believe, and I do agree with you, that a lot of these prospects don't turn into Harpers or, Freemans or they don't turn into them. So, but I do believe that you could potentially see Crawford be a major part of this team. I just don't believe it's right now. And I'm okay with that. And I'm fully okay with them keeping him down until he's ready. And we heard that with Dombrowski Thursday night after the trade deadline ended. He was like, yeah, we're waiting for Crawford. We're going to feel him out. He's ready to be called up. We just want to make sure he's fully ready to be an everyday guy. And so I'm okay with that. The guys you have on this team right now, they're great players. They just need to, hold up their end of the bargain. So that's the only reason why this Crawford conversation is happening is because the guys you're paying $300 million don't step up every day. But let's take another one. Let's go to Dalt in Delaware.
Hey, good afternoon, Ryan. Happy to be on your show, man. Just got a quick question for you. Love what you're building, brother. Hey, want to know, this Phillies team is red hot right now. They're getting hot at the perfect time. What does this team need to do to keep this ball rolling to ensure that Red October continues into November this year? Once again, appreciate you, man. Love what you're building. Hope you have a good one.
They need to play consistent baseball. That's literally for them to play into November. They need to play consistent baseball, and that's not from the starting pitching staff. I mean, they've been great all year. That means, when Schwarber goes down now, when Schwarber is a pretty consistent power hitter, but there's times where he has a hard time. He goes down with a lot of strikeouts here and there. He has his times, and when he has his times where he starts to play not the Schwarber way that we're used to, this offense shuts down. There's no production from this offense. So Schwarber has been your MVP this year. No getting around that. But if you want to see them play not just in October, but November as well, Harper needs to play consistent baseball. Turner needs to play consistent baseball. You need to find some sort of consistent baseball out of Stott, out of Castellanos, Real Muto. There's guys on this team that need to also step up instead of just Schwarber and play consistent baseball, because I think your starting pitching is what it's going to carry you. But if you want to make it into November, your offense can't shut down. And the past couple postseason runs, you saw it with the Diamondback series. They went in, and obviously Rob and the whole Kimbrel situation, we get that. But again, your offensive guys shut down. Your $300 million guys pants themselves. And you can't have that. So this way that they're playing right now, they're playing hot baseball, but we know it's not going to be consistent. We know they can't play like this forever. So they have to find a happy medium somewhere where it doesn't all fall on Schwarber's shoulders. And there's the other guys on this team step up and carry the rest of the load, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I can't add anything to it. You gave a perfect answer to that question.
Yeah, this team's look. I've been a Phillies doubter, and that's just where I am. This team has fractured me. They've broken me for too long now. But this team is. It's Angelo. It's true.
Ryan, I got to stop you. Ryan, this is one of the best eras of Phillies baseball you've ever seen. If this would break you, I cannot imagine what the 90s would have done to you, or the period from 2012 to 2019 or so. Good baseball. You're watching winning baseball.
This is good baseball, but they're not. Look, they just don't play up to their potential all the time, and that's why it hurts me, because I know how good the team is. I know how good how capable they are of winning a World Series, and the fact that every year they fall short, whether it's the manager, whether it's bullpen, whether it's the offensive production, whatever the case is, that's what hurts me. And I was one of the guys that was always in the stadium when they were winning 60 games a year. I was out there. That hurt me, whatever the case is. But this is different because they're a good baseball team. They're very talented. They could win. It's just they don't always consistently play to their potential, and that is why I say that they hurt me. That they hurt me.
Well, you're right. They do, but they're good. They got a chance. They got a chance.
I do believe that this is one of their better chances at winning this year. And it's just that you have the best.
If Wheeler's pitching great, like he did against the Mets in the playoffs last year, and he's pulled after 7 innings, thrown a 1-hitter, and he's ahead 1-0, and Thompson puts someone else in, shut the TV off and just find another sport. Because he ruined last season's playoffs. The Thompson did. The Phillies win that game if he leaves Wheeler in. No doubt in my mind about that. Yeah. He takes him out because he's a robot. They could have won the championship last year. Do you understand? Would have eliminated the Mets. They would have won that series if he didn't pull Wheeler in the first game. And I'm seeing so much in the media, you included, who are looking at a lot of other reasons. Yeah, there's other reasons. But if they win that first game, how does that change everything that follows? They got to win the first game. And the manager didn't give them a chance to win the game. Hoffman wasn't in 5 minutes and the lead was dead. They were done. And they never recovered. Yeah. It all comes down to the right decisions at the right time. You only had 1 run that game. The hitting wasn't good. You know why? Because in the playoffs, the pitchers are great. They're all really great. You're not going to score as much. Schwarber's not going to hit at a rate of 40 home runs in early August. He's not. These are much better pitches he's facing. So you got to do it smart. And that's your real problem.
Yeah, well, when we lost game 1 in the NLDS, I knew it was over. I mean, yeah. You had that feeling, and it was no matter what other game the Phillies were going to win in that series, didn't matter. You lost game 1. Wheeler went out there and threw the gemmest of gem to ever gem.
Best. Yeah, he's never pitched better.
Yeah,
and it was removed from the game. Here's what you ask yourself, right? When he comes, Hoffman's on the mound in the 8th inning, right? What do you think the Mets are saying in the dugout? Are they going, "Oh no, we were just about to get to Wheeler"? Or are they going, "Oh my God, Wheeler's out. We got a shot." Boom, boom, boom. They win the game.
Yeah.
The whole thing came down to that decision. That decision changed everything that followed. People don't look at things that way. They go, "Oh, well, the hitting wasn't that great." Well, how great would it have been if they were up 1-0 in the series instead of down? How much less pressure would they have felt? Because they were in the driver's seat. You got to look at moments in games and series that define a season. And that Thompson survived that and came back, and that no media, none, to this day, what are we, 10 months later? No media ever got Thompson for that. Oh, what do you want? A guy threw 100 and blah, blah, pitches. Or he must have been exhausted. It's the playoffs. This is what you play all year for. Put your best pitcher out there and pitch until he can't, until his effectiveness is clearly eroding. It wasn't. Keep him there. And you know what else? Wheeler, we just got to say to the manager, don't you, like Bob Gibson used to, or Jack Morris, all these other guys, just say, no, you give me the ball. I'll take it. I may need you in the 9th. I got the 8th. Give me the ball. They didn't do it.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
It's just you just had that feeling when you took him out, and then you saw it snowball. It just like went down. The team played with it when they took him out. They played just different confidence. I don't know. You know, that's just I don't. It's just you're lost for words in those types of moments, and in a game like that, and your best pitcher, you do keep Wheeler in. And again, you start to, and if he starts to give up hits, starts to blow it up,
then you take him out.
Then you go. But in that situation, right then and there, I knew they were done. They just the Mets had them. They just it was something I didn't think I would see. But let's go now Let's go to Joey in South Jersey.
Yo, Ryan. Calling in today to ask about the Phillies with their win last night versus the Orioles and them winning the Detroit series. This team's looking real good after the trade deadline, in my opinion. My question to you is, if this Phillies team goes to win the whole thing and win the World Series, will they be the best Phillies team of all time? Thanks, Ryan.
That's a good question. Now,
it is.
I don't know, and Angelo would know more than me. I mean, I'm not, I haven't been around for. I've been around for the Clintac era. I've been around for all like the real bad eras with Sandberg and all the Girardi. The whole, back in 2017. That's my era. But I don't know. Just from my initial thought, I don't know if they're better than the 2008 team. Angelo, what do you think?
The best team in Phillies history didn't win the championship. It's 2011. And Roy Halladay throwing perfect games and no hitters. Right. And they blew that. And that's the one. Ruben Mara used to be a coach on the radio show, and he said that was the team. That was the best. And Ruben was a player on the teams for some. 80 was a great team. 80 was a phenomenal team. 08 was a great team. My God, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Cole Hamels, Brad Lidge. That's to me, since we're not going to be able to use 11, they didn't win it. I'd say the measurement would be 08. And this team has better starting pitching than 08 did. It's deeper. They have deeper starting pitching than 08 did. Now, with Duran, they have a closer that at least approaches what Lidge was able to do that year. And the lineup, wow, that's a tough one. You got to see how it all plays out and who contributes. Schwarber is like, I don't think they've ever had a power hitter like that. I think the number he ends up with this season will be a team record. I think he may get 60. He could get 60.
I think he breaks Howard. I think he passes Howard.
Yeah. I think he's going to, well, he matches or exceeds Howard, let's say. Who would you compare with Jimmy Rollins? I mean, Trey Turner is not Jimmy Rollins. And Utley was like, I don't know, this quiet leader. It's a fascinating thing to think about. It definitely puts them, if they were to win it all, it puts them in the top 5 for sure. And then you have to kind of break it down and see. But they're definitely one of the all-time great teams if they win. If they don't, they're a monumental disappointment. There's no middle ground. You either win it all or you blew it when you got a team this talented. So they have to do it.
They do. They do have to do it. And the window's closing. The window's
It is.
Every day that passes, your window is getting shorter and shorter. So that's just and that's it comes down to the manager, like you said, and then it comes down to manager and comes down to the stars starring. And that's where it's got to be. Let's take a call from Fratty.
What's up, Broad Street Sports? Fratty here. Just wanted to call in and tell Angelo that the Philadelphia Phillies need to re-sign Kyle Schwarber because it's very important
that
the Phillies get this done for next season because he is just on an absolute tear right now. He's hitting home runs out like it's the home run derby right now. I mean, the fact of the matter is he has 40 home runs in early August. The way he's hitting home runs right now, he's on pace to have a 55 to 60 homer season. It is unbelievable to watch. Kyle Schwarber is unbelievable. It would absolutely be one of the saddest things ever if we can't re-sign Kyle Schwarber. But I think the Phillies are going to re-sign Kyle Schwarber no matter what happens after this season. So that's my take. And that's all I have, Angelo. Have a good day.
A good take. I swear you were watching a game with me last night because when he hit that grand slam, I was with my son, my stepson, and I said, man, they better sign this guy. But one thing, it's going to be expensive now. Every time that ball lands in the stands, another home run. Cha-ching, cha-ching. More money you're going to cost you. It's going to be expensive because that guy is a slugger. Oh, my God. Between that and his ability to get on base with the walk, he's fantastic. I agree. But the good news is John Middleton will pay what it takes to keep his greatest players. And that's why I have confidence that in the end, Schwarber will stay here.
Well, I look, I don't know what this Phillies team would be without Kyle Schwarber. I like, and all of his big time moments this year, this specific year that he's having, I don't know where this team would be without him. And that's kind of, and that's just kind of where it is. So now like you said, every home run he hits, cha-ching, cha-ching, money's going up for him. But it's at this point, he's so important to your team. I just give him a blank check and say, fill it out. Let's just
No, you don't want to
fill it out.
No.
You get my point though with that though. You get my point though with that. He's so important.
You can't give him Soto money.
No, he's not going to get Soto money. No.
$5 million. No,
he's not going to get Soto money.
He's going to get a lot. He's going to get a lot.
And he deserves it. He deserves it, and that's just and that's where it is. And we'll take our last Phillies call before we switch over now. And let's just take it. It's from Dom in South Jersey.
What's up, guys? Listening to the show today. It's a great collaboration to see happen. My take is that I love what the Phillies did with getting Joan Duran in the bullpen, but I just think they needed another middle of the order bat. I don't think you can run back the playoffs with your top four being Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, and Turner. We've seen it fail too many times, and I think they're just trying to, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I think we're going to see the same results in the playoffs. Unfortunately, I think one of them is going to go cold, and we're not going to have guys who can step up and beat teams like the Dodgers or the Brewers or the Cubs. And I think the Phillies season will end in the playoffs again, and I just want to get your reaction to that. Thank you.
I mean, that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is the fact that, Duran's great, stabilized the back half of the bullpen. Bader is an upgrade from Kepler, Marsh, and Rojas. But we've seen it over and over and over again. Castellanos' bat, he's inconsistent. Realmuto, he didn't have a hit in 4 games of the NLDS last year. Harper, we've seen him rise to the occasion. Schwarber rises to the occasion. But you don't get anything from Bohm most of the time, none from Stott. And Turner, he hasn't had a good postseason run. Maybe he'll be different this year, just getting on base. But that was my biggest fear, is that all these guys go cold and inconsistent, and Harrison Bader is your savior in a way. And and that's just where it is. And like you said, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. This is what the fourth year of the same thing over and over and over again. Like you said, Rob, it's like a robot. Same thing over and over and over again. So I don't know. I have mixed emotions. Like, I want to be happy about the run that we're going to go on, and I want to be excited. And Duran's making me happy and excited for that. I just don't know if this is I can't, like, they're capable, but like he said, I just don't know if it's a smart thing to run it back with the same crew.
Well, here's the thing. All right, there were two names that came up in the latter stage of the trade deadline. One was the third baseman Eduardo Suarez. He's got almost 40 homers himself. He's in the mid to upper 30s, but he strikes out 35, 40% of the time. He's a butcher at third base, an absolute butcher. All right, so you're going to get some good with some bad. I wasn't dying for them to make that move. Stephen Kwan, the outfielder from Cleveland, different deal. That guy can hit. Contact guy with great speed, good defender. I'm sure they talked about it. I'm sure they considered the possibility, but they just, at that point, they went, it's going to cost us our entire farm system, and we don't want to do that. And you don't know if he's going to be the difference. But the one guy that I thought might have been worth, this extra is Quan. That's a great hitter, right? Most of the other guys, they're flawed. They have some strengths and some weaknesses. Quan is pretty much just a great on-base guy with all the other talent you would want. But he's young. He's 27, and it costs a lot of money. And in that case, not a lot of money. It costs a lot of players, and they didn't want to do it. So they must think they got enough anyway, or they would have done it. So we hope they did.
Well, like, just to wrap this up before we get in the in the Eagles topic, it's just like, and I think the way that Dombrowski looks at this is, I did enough for this team in the bullpen. I got a guy that's better than Rojas, Marsh, and Kepler, but I need my guys, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, to play exceptional baseball. He's like, I could add everybody. I could add whoever I want, but it comes down to the guys, $300 million that you're paying and that are on these large contracts to step up and play consistently. And I think that's just where it is. That's just where it is. You if you brought in Quan, which would have been insane if we brought Quan in, it would have been, out of this world. Like, he gets on base, but then when this team is inconsistent and they can't hit the ball, who's going to drive him in? He can't drive himself in unless he's in a homer.
He could definitely steal second and third.
Yeah.
That helps. Then you need somebody to hit the ball.
Yeah. So it's just, I think Dombrowski just looks at it as, my guys need to play. And that is, and that's been the story that it is. My manager needs to manage. The bullpen needs to hold down the fort, and the guys need to get runs early and not take their foot off the gas. And hopefully that is the message that they're going to take in to in the October. So now let's switch over to the Eagles. And this is we're in the midst of training camp now. We're into August. We have a couple position battles, obviously starting right now with corner, Dory Jackson and Keely Ringo. And we just brought in another corner. And that, what that tells me is Vic Fangio and Sirianni and Howie, they don't like what they see out of the cornerback battle right now with Dory and Keely Ringo. And so what are the key position battles that you're looking at? And what is this cornerback trade from last night tell you about what the Eagles are trying to build and how they feel?
I don't have the guy's name. I know he's from the Raiders, right? But statistically, wow. I mean, he was really good. and Howie Stone. No, I don't think Howie. They looked. Oh, we don't have enough cornerback. I think he got another sucker on the line and fleeced him. I mean, that's just unbelievable that he got a guy who's that young, 24. I have his names are not good for me right now. But all I can tell you is it was another example of how Howie is always a step ahead of the rest of the league. And people are all the people in Vegas, they can't believe that they did that trade. And people here now are so used to it because Howie does it all the time. It's brilliant. No, this Eagles team, look, this is not a complicated situation. On defense, they're going to have an issue because they lost half their starters from a championship team. How quickly can you replace the experience that those veterans had who all went out and got great deals because they were Super Bowl champions? Are you going to be able to put young people in there and get the same kind of output, especially when the games get really tough at playoff time? That's number one. And the other big issue is going to be on offense, you don't have Kellen Moore call the plays anymore. And Kellen Moore had a brilliant season calling the plays last year for that amazing offense. That Kellen Moore knew enough. Kellen Moore loves the pass. And he knew enough after watching Barkley for a few games that this was a team where you relied so much on the pass that you got to get the ball in the hands of Saquon Barkley. And they did, and they won a championship. The guy they replaced them with, Kevin Patullo, has never called plays before. So here's what you got. You got this incredible Rolls Royce, and you got a guy in the driver's seat who just got his learner permit. Is he going to be able to drive you to the promised land? And the question I would have is, why didn't you get a more experienced driver? You just saw what happened when you did. You brought in Kellen Moore when things exploded the previous year, and he's great at it, and you won a championship. Now you're going to bring in the right-hand man of Nick Sirianni, who we already know is a record, doesn't call plays well. That's why he stopped doing it after his third game of his first season. Is this guy going to be able to do it? Maybe he will, but I don't think the odds are too good for that. So if you could replace those defensive plays, Fangio is proven. I'm not worried about Fangio. If there's a way to figure it out, I think he'll do it. Patullo, who knows?
Do you now? Do you believe that he's? And I just read it in the comment here, but I was thinking at the same thing. Do you think that he's another Brian Johnson? I mean, like, because remember,
yeah, that's the first thing you think.
Yeah,
that's the first thing you think. The last time they did this, they put it in the hands of a guy who had no idea what he was doing. It was awful. And this guy Patullo, let's not lose sight of this, Ryan. Patullo was on that staff. If they thought he was so good, why didn't they give him that authority then? They changed the defensive coordinator. Why didn't they give Patullo that? Why did they wait, get more in, and now suddenly decree Patullo's phenomenal? He's going to be amazing. Well, why wasn't he amazing 2 years ago when you were desperate to have somebody who knew what he was doing? No, the Patullo, I think, scares me the most because Moore was so good last year. And, you know, he got what he deserved. He got a head coaching job.
Yeah, and like, again, and this is – I trust Fangio's mission. I trust what he thinks. And, look, this defense, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. I don't believe that they're going to be what they were last year, but that's okay. They just have to be good. And they got a lot of young cats on there that they're going to fill in to whatever they're going to be. And I trust Fangio to develop these guys and his team to develop them and get them where they have to be. I think they're going to be good. I just don't think right out of the gates, maybe towards the end of the year, but I don't think right out of the gates you're going to see the same defense that was tearing every team to shreds. I don't see that. Yeah. And so the defense doesn't scare me. It's the offensive side of the football. It's I believe Barkley's going to have another great year, but it's just the fact that now teams are game planning directly for Saquon. Not that they weren't last year, but now they have a lot of tape to look back on, and that a lot of what teams, what certain teams tried that worked here and there. They're going to piece a lot of things together and try and stop him. And I honestly think that puts a lot of stress, not stress, but you have to have Jalen Hurts play very consistent football. He can't have the times where he sits in the pocket, can't find open guy, and just takes a sack. We can't have that.
Yep.
We can't have Jalen Hurts who escapes out of the pocket and then just throws it away or does the stupid stuff that he does. And because there's times where he's fast enough, just use your legs, man. Just run. Just run, even if it's for 2 to 3 yards. I don't want you to throw it away. And another thing, and all these things that I'm naming, he worked on and got much better throughout the season, at least from my eye. And I think Patullo, they have to work together for him to read defenses better consistently. He did a great job towards the end of the year reading defenses and being able to process. But I think there's a leap that he has to take here. And, and again, all these problems I'm talking about, he fixed. But now it's time to kind of turn it into the next step, turn it into the next gear where we don't even have to worry about this, and so again, it comes down to Patullo in a lot of ways. Can he, can him and Patullo's in a different job now. He's in a different job title. And is this game plan that they're working and they're going to use going to be successful for Jalen and Saquon in the same spot? And that's what worries me, because with Kellen Moore, Kellen, obviously we knew Kellen was a great pass. It was a pass game type of guy. We knew that. And we expect that. And then he was smart enough, like you said, to switch to run first. But if things aren't working with the run or the pass, whatever the case is Patullo smart enough, quick enough to fix the issue? And that's what concerns me the most.
Well, you're right. There's one thing I would add to what you're saying, and it's only because, and I don't say this with any pride, but my son is a lifelong New York Giants fan. Long story. We grew up in New England, et cetera, et cetera. And he was astounded that Barkley had that big an impact last season on the Eagles, because most of the time when Barkley was with the Giants, at some point in the season, he broke down, got hurt. And last year he didn't. And he's phenomenal the whole season. Can we expect that again this year? You confident in that? I'm not that confident of it. I'm worried about it. Because they're a different team without Barkley. They're a different team. They're still a good team, but they're not the same team without that guy having that amazing season that he had. And I just pray to God, I'm holding my breath, that he has another great, healthy season like he did a year ago, because if he does, he'll have the same impact.
Well, I don't think he's going to have another 2,000 rushing yards and do all that, but I do believe it's not impossible. Not impossible.
No,
I just don't know if, 2 years in a row, you played in the Super Bowl, you won the Super Bowl, and that you had a shorter window to work. And,
right.
And,
You're right.
Now it's so I believe that he's going to have a big impact, because I think he's the most valuable. I think without, like you said, without him, I don't know who they're a good team, but they're not the Eagles in the way. And
you're right.
So that it comes down to, can he stay healthy for a second year in a row? And I believe that he's going to be very impactful again, and whatever the case is. But again, teams are prepared for Barkley now. Teams are prepared for the number one option, Barkley, whether it's out of the run game, out of the pass game. They're prepared for him, and teams are it's going to force Jalen to be a passer and be smart with the football. And that is, I mean,
I don't worry about that. I don't worry about that. I really trust him. He's my all-time favorite Eagles quarterback. And not just because he just won a Super Bowl. He's so smart. His father was a coach. You could see it. He lived his life playing this game. He knows what he's doing out there. Yeah, there are periods where it's kind of annoying. He's throwing the ball away too much, or he's giving it up in the pocket and fumbling. Most of the time, he's going to do the right thing. In fact, my biggest hope with Patullo is if he doesn't feel comfortable with these play calls, that he will know when he gets to the line a better play and will check off to it. And if so, you might even not see, the inexperience of Patullo. But I don't worry about Hurts. Honestly, Ryan, Hurts is a phenomenon. The only reason people know who are young like you is that you haven't seen how many stiffs we had over the years behind center, and including Wentz in there. All right, Wentz was another guy in when it mattered most. They would not have won a Super Bowl if he didn't get hurt. I hope everybody realizes that. They would not have won it. They won it because he got their 11 wins, he got hurt, and he brought in a guy with bigger cojones.
That's just
took him the rest of the way. It was like somebody smiled down on us from above and went, "We're going to give you the perfect scenario." They did. That's how they won.
Yeah.
But Hurts, I don't worry about. Hurts is a winner. He'll figure out something. He'll beat him. He needs to beat him. He'll beat him. Keep in mind, the great Andy Reid was getting his fat butt kicked 34-0 in the Super Bowl. All right. So, I'm sorry. My own bias is coming out here. That was my favorite moment in my life as a sports fan. Was 34-0. I just looked up and I went, "All right, God, you could take me now. All that I need to see. This is beautiful."
Yeah.
And he'll do it. Don't worry about Hurts. He'll be fine. Don't worry about Hurts.
Well, I have grown to really like Hurts. I just think over the times that he's been here, he's just a winner. Whether he's having a hard time out there or not, they do win games with him.
He's a winner. He'll
proven.
figure it out.
So there's a comment here in the comment section that I want to read, and it kind of brings up a good point from the defensive side of the football. I know that we both trust Fangio, but he does bring a good point here in the comments. So he says, if anything that scares me is not turning the ball over from the defensive side. We saw what happened when we didn't have CJGJ and we weren't intercepting the football. So is that something that also scares you as well?
Yeah, it does, because that guy back there, CJBJ, whatever they call him now, he didn't just make big plays, which he did, big interception. He brought an attitude. He had an attitude. The reason he's not here is the attitude rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He's a pain in the butt to deal with. But the truth is, that guy, that's another winner. Remember, he was on the Eagles 2 years, and they made it to the Super Bowl both the years that he was on the team. That tells you a little bit about the impact he had, but they still got rid of him. And I'm worried about that. That is a very valid thing to concern yourself with, because who's going to do that back there in that safety position with him not there? So, I agree. I think that's a concern for sure.
Yeah, and that's something like, so you think about Justin Simmons. I've heard a lot of things now starting to pick back up with him. Would that be something to kind of stabilize the defensive backs at the safety position? Is that something that you would be interested in bringing in, trying to stabilize back there?
That could help. I'm hearing more and more that Cooper DeJean is looking good there. That they moved Cooper DeJean there at times, and he's looked good. And he's extremely versatile. Look, here's the thing we need to know about the defense. We don't have the same confidence in the offense. Vic Fangio knows who can play, and he knows who can play with whom. Vic Fangio is really good at defensive coordination, and he will be able to make the right choices there. I don't have any concern about that. He had an amazing year last year. Remember how they choked the year before? They couldn't make a freaking play. They couldn't stop a third down. Remember all that? He came in and he cleaned all that up. That's not going to go away. He's still here.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, it's hard to predict. But Fangio will be fine, and he will find the right people at the safety position that will at least give you something close to what you got with how you lost.
Yeah, I mean, I believe so too. I believe Fangio is the type of guy you want to run your defense. You saw what a disaster it was when you had Sean Desai /
Oh
Matt
my God.
Patricia. I mean, brings back it's like nightmares.
Oh my God, Matt Patricia. That was just the worst. They were so bad. Oh my God, how bad they were. I hope he's out of football now. I hope he didn't get another job. Because if he did, man, he's screwing some team up.
Yeah, no, he was bad. They had Desai / Patricia. Then you had the Brian Johnson. That team, you looked at it, it was like this can't be serious. But I think
Ryan, it shows you the value of good coaching.
Yeah.
Because most of those guys then won a Super Bowl with coaches, right? So they fell apart with those coaches. Bring in new coaches, add a few players, boom, Super Bowl. Tells you how important it is.
It does. It really does. And that is it's just Fangio and again, I'm just like you with Patullo. I don't know. I guess I'm a skeptic in a way, but it's not like I am. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't want another Brian Johnson. That's not what I want at all. But I can't tell you that he's not going to be another Brian Johnson. So I just don't know, and that's something. That's the only thing that concerns me. Something that concerns me.
Biggest thing. You're right. That's the thing.
And so the biggest thing that people want to know, even including myself, is do you believe right now the Eagles are capable of winning another Super Bowl, repeating, going back to back? What do you believe? Do you believe they're fully capable of doing that job and finishing it and becoming maybe a dynasty down, and that's what people want to know. And it's Sirianni.
Yeah. Sirianni's a problem. I'm not a big fan, but they are capable of doing it. They have, Howie Roseman just keeps adding quality players. They have the players to do it. They have, I was with Ray Didinger a couple of weeks ago, who I always will defer to on football knowledge. And he said, they definitely have enough to repeat. And I went, well, will they? And he went, well, probably not. Because first of all, the history of it. The Eagles, the year after they win a Super Bowl, usually are not very good. It's much harder. The schedule is so much harder this year. It's really a brutal schedule. There's so many periods in it, 3-game little clusters of tough games. It ends Washington, Buffalo, Washington. Wow, that's a hard way to end the season. And it's hard the year after. You just mentioned before about Barkley and the workload of going all the way through to the Super Bowl a year ago. It's hard to remain healthy to be able to do it. They can do it, but history suggests they probably will not. But you know what's important? We're going to have fun watching. Regardless, it's going to be fun because it's football and it's the Eagles and the fans are all crazy, and it'll be a terrific experience.
Yeah, and I hope that I hope Sirianni and his message, whatever his message may be, to not focus on last year. I hope that it resonates. And I know you're not a big Sirianni guy.
That is an understatement.
Yeah, but it's whatever his message was coming out of the bye week last year, it stuck. It worked. Whatever it was.
Yeah, no, it worked. The next 4 games were a bunch of stiff teams. They built some momentum. No, don't give him any of that credit, please. I'll just say it straight out, all right, Ryan? He's the dumbest champion this city's ever had. You got to take a little bit for me that I got to talk to him for 3 years after every Eagles game. He's the dumbest champion we ever had. I got to talk to Andy Reid. I got to talk to Doug Peterson. I got to talk to all these other guys. He wasn't at that level intelligence-wise. I can tell you that. He wasn't that smart. but he won a championship. It worked. So now he's got a new deal, and he's got more power, and he's bringing in his buddy Patullo. Wow. Did he won a championship? You know what? Anybody can win the lottery, I guess. He won the championship. He's not that smart. I'm telling you. You got to take my word for it. He's not that bright. He's not.
The way that you put it, that he won a Super Bowl, he got a payday. Now he's bringing in all his buddies.
Yeah.
The way that you put that, it's like, I don't know. The way you think about that, he's bringing in all of his buddies. Oh, Patullo, right-hand guy. We'll bring him in. Yeah, I don't know. We have 2 Eagles calls here. We'll take a listen to. We have Vinny in New Jersey.
How's it going, guys? It's Vinny from Malika Township, New Jersey. Just want to say it's amazing to see this collab between Broad Street and Angelo. But right into what I'm going to say, I really think that Jalen is going to make the jump similar to how Lamar Jackson did the last 2 seasons, in terms of his passing ability and just overall, like, his ability to read the defense, but also continue to be a threat as a runner. I think him opening up the pass game for AJ and Devontae is going to be able to open up a lot of things for Saquon, as well as being able to give him less of a workload this season, but also have him be consistently, a home run hitter, high mileage guy. But yeah, I do think Jalen Hurts is going to take the next step, and I think Kevin Patullo is going to be a huge part of the reason why he's going to open it up for Jalen. Thank you.
I'll let you respond to that one. I'll let you.
That guy, you know what they say, you got to have faith. That guy's got faith. We don't know. Yeah, the honesty is neither Patullo doesn't know. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it. Just keep in mind the Rolls Royce and the learner's permit, because that's what we're dealing with here. Now, maybe that guy is a naturally great driver and he'll drive well. That could happen. Yeah. And there was a point where Bill Walsh was one of those little guys underneath the head coach too. It's just not, the odds are not great, especially because we already saw this with Brian Johnson. We already saw Sirianni's right-hand man get the promotion and blow it. And that kind of gives me thinking it could happen again. The only reason Kellen Moore was here was because Howie Roseman and Jerry said, we'll pick the coordinator this time. And they recruited him and they brought him in. And Nick, as he did, this one thing Nick is great at, Ryan, saying yes to his bosses. He is the all-time boss butt kisser. Oh, my God. He is the yes man of yes men. So, and it worked out. Now, why did those guys then give him back the authority to pick his next offensive coordinator? I don't know why. Maybe they were feeling so happy about winning the Super Bowl, they let it get away from them. I don't know. But my theory is by game 3. Remember, when I was doing this every day on WIP, I would try to anticipate the next big theme. And my prediction here is by game 3, the name Kevin Patullo will be on the lips of many fans, and it will not be in a happy manner. I think, they will be taking a swig of beer and go, that bleeping Kevin Patullo, blah, blah, blah. That's what, that's my guess. Kevin Patullo will be a major theme early in the season when they run the ball when they should have passed it and pass the ball when they should have run it.
Wow. Now that you got a point there. Now in the comments again, the same guy from before brings up another point that Doug bringing in all of his buddies also failed. And you know,
at the end, hold on. And at the end, they wouldn't let him bring his buddies in. The reason Doug got fired is he wanted to bring in he had this guy, I can't remember his name now. He ended up being his offensive coordinator when he got to Jacksonville. The guy stopped and he didn't succeed there. But at the end, when Doug said, I want to bring in my guys, at the very end, they went, no. And he said, then I quit. And they said, don't let the door hit you. It was that kind of thing. But but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. More times it doesn't. So be ready for that. That's all. Be ready for Kevin Patullo talk All right. If you're doing this all the time, he will be on the board quite often for you this year, Ryan. I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm sure he will be, but I hope not. I really hope.
I hope not.
Yeah, I really hope not. Let's take a call here from KJ.
Hey, Angelo. Hey, Broad. How's it going? Angelo, it's a great honor talking to you and leaving a voicemail. Thanks for doing this for Broad. He really appreciates this, and hopefully he can learn from a great legend like yourself. But my question really is, what are your expectations for a potential repeat for the Philadelphia Eagles? What do you think the noise is doing to the Birds? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Are they really just ignoring all of the outside noise from all of the analysts and all of the doubters out there? Do you think they can beat that? And do you think they will repeat? I think they will. What do you think? Just thought
I addressed this.
Go Birds.
Okay. I did address it a few minutes ago. I don't think they'll repeat because it's so hard to do so. They have the talent to. Again, I'll just defer to Ray Didinger. They have the best roster. The best roster doesn't always win. He thinks it's going to be hard. You got to realize Ray wrote the Eagles Encyclopedia. In fact, he rewrote it after they won the Super Bowl last year. And he just said, history says, wow, the year after is really hard. And hopefully this time they overcome that. But it would surprise me. I would be surprised. I want to have one. If the Eagles don't win it again, please, not the Chiefs. That's all I ask. Not the Chiefs. Anyone else? Detroit. I kind of like their guy, Dan Campbell. Let Dan win. Or somebody in the other league. I don't care. Just not Andy Reid and not the freaking Chiefs and not Taylor Swift and her boyfriend and all that. I don't need that stuff. Because you know what? The one great thing so far this year, Ryan, notice how there's so many fewer commercials with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes and all those guys than there were a year ago. Isn't TV safer to watch now than it was when all those boobs were on every time they went to a commercial?
Yeah.
Please, spare me that, God. Please, spare me that.
You're right. It made football unenjoyable. Anytime the Chiefs scored a touchdown, there's Taylor Swift. Let's show her up there in the box.
I got nothing against her, but enough.
Yeah.
Travis married the girl. Do something.
Yeah.
Travis is pretty close to being done himself. I hate to say, but he's like 36 now. It's easy to the end.
He's on his way out too. Now, there's a good comment here on YouTube. Who would you rather keep, Rob Thompson or Nick Sirianni? I think that's a good one.
That is a great comment.
Great comment.
I would rather keep Nick Sirianni because somehow he won. Thompson hasn't won, and to me has blown at least one, maybe two parades. So I'm keeping Sirianni, but I probably wouldn't keep either if you gave me the chance to get rid of both. Thompson, no. Thompson, he's going to do it again. I just know he's going to screw this up again. I just know it.
I can't even think about that.
Yeah.
No, but that is a good question, though, because both of them, they have a lot of similarities in a way.
Yes.
And it's, Rob has his problems. Somehow, Sirianni's message 90% of the time stuck. It worked. However, I mean, whatever he did, somehow, some way, it worked. But whatever Rob's message, the way he attacks every game day, that doesn't work. And
all right, I wouldn't use the verb attacks. He did not seem like he ever attacks anything. He's pretty much just stands there. This is the thing I can't get, right? I'm watching all these Phillies games, and they love to give you the reaction shot from Rob Thompson when something happens in a game. Has he ever had any reaction? Has he ever had any reaction? He's a stone faced. It's like an action. Watch the next time you watch a game. They'll do it 10 times a game. Oh, wow, the close play at second. Shot of Thompson.
And have you ever noticed when they do that too? And he's always writing something down. He's like always
Yeah.
like hands
What's he
down and
write?
starts writing. It's like
What's all the writing going
I-
on?
well, if
What's
he's
that
writing
about?
what guys are doing in the field and what's that, he's obviously not going to his book and seeing what he's
I don't know
writing
what he's
down.
writing.
I don't
know.
know.
Why don't they get a shot of what he's writing at? Like maybe that's the reaction we need to see.
Right? Yeah. Because anytime he's always there with it, it's 100
Yeah.
degrees outside. He's got a hoodie on. He's got a sweatshirt on.
That's
100
another
degrees.
thing. What's wrong with you? Take the hoodie off. It's warm.
It's 100 degrees outside. He's in a hoodie and he's writing
Come
his
on.
notes all game long. He's right next to the steps, one leg on the steps, and writing notes. It's like, dude, what are you writing?
Yeah, I don't know what he's writing. I want to see what's on that page.
I want to see if it's anything that could. I don't think it's anything of importance at this point, because whatever it is, he's not. Whatever it is, he ain't using it.
Might be his grocery list. I don't know. Could be anything.
Yeah, middle of the game, he's thinking, well, this week I got to go and get bread. I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get. I don't know. So we've touched on the Phillies, we've touched on the Eagles, and of course we appreciate your time with that. Just one last thing, I want to get to, and I know that's very important to you, and that is your book. I know it's very near and dear to you. I mean, you wrote it, so of course it's very near and dear to you. And so on the cover of layout, you can go and get it on Amazon or on your website, right? AngeloCataldi.com, right? That is your website. You can go and get it there. And on the cover of your book, it says how a shy nerd came to Philadelphia and turned up the volume in the most passionate sports city in America. So I have a couple questions about the book, and starting is, what made you want to write the book? And did you start it like when you first got into the business, or did it take you a while to say, yeah, I want to write a book? And what made you want to tell your story of this journey?
Yeah, well, the main reason I wrote the book was as a tribute to those fans that, like you, Ryan, who listened and gave me a great job for as many years as I had it. It was it's a sense of appreciation. I wanted to share the story one last time for everyone. Plus, I had background. First 20 years of my career in the media, I was a writer. So I did have some writing experience. And I found a great publisher, Triumph, that said they would publish my book for me. And the only problem was I wanted it to come out the same year that I retired, which was 2022. So I really had to write it in like 6 or 7 weeks. But it wasn't that hard to write because it was all organized in my brain. I already knew toward the end of the time I was on the air, I was kind of doing an organization, but I wasn't writing anything down. And then I just sat down literally the day after I retired and I started writing. And 7 weeks later, I had it. It came out just the way I wanted it to. And it told all the stories of what the ups and the downs and the personal issues that you deal with, and trying to stay at the top of your game for as long as you can. And mostly it's just an homage to all the fans that acted so insane for so many years before you were even born, just acting crazy and being a part of this great atmosphere that we have in this great sports city of Philadelphia.
Yeah. So it's just another one is I've two more, and it's so you were very honest in this book about everything, and but was there anything in the book that you were afraid to include in the book?
Yeah, it's funny. I wasn't afraid because most of what was in the book I had experienced on the air and people were aware of. The fact that I had dealt with this serious bout with clinical depression 5 years into my tenure there, that was I was a little concerned that people would look at me differently when they did that, but they didn't. They embraced it. They thought, that's, we just thought you were real happy every day or real mad every day, but we got to see all these emotions and there was more going on there. So I gave some of that background that was there before. No, the chapter I enjoyed writing the most was all the people I learned to hate in sports. And I realized, God, this could be a whole book in itself. So I had to limit it. I only ended up with like 8 to 20 people. I had hundreds. I had feuds with a lot of these people. But it was all, look, the whole message of it was, and it's why I got into sports long time ago. The message was, it's sports. It's not that serious. Have fun with it. And that's the thing. And that's my advice to you, Ryan, as somebody starting out. God, you're 18 years old and you already have all this knowledge and you have you're really already good at this. And it's like, just realize it's not life and death. It's not, you're going in the news if you want to do that. And wars and all the real sad and tough stuff that happens in our world. We're just talking about games and it's fun and just enjoy it. Because that's what the people who are doing this, the fans in this city are doing. They're working an 8-hour shift and they're looking forward to the game that night. It's a big part of the positive part of their lives. And that's what I wanted to kind of tap into with the book.
Yeah, and the book is that. I mean, that's this is the way it is, man. I mean, it's just fans, people. They gravitated to you, and that's coming to listening to game day, right? Let's say they're playing a Monday night, Thursday night, whatever, and they got you on in the morning. And they're like, yeah, I'm ready to watch some bleeping football tonight. And
when we were in a tent, we did it. You got to realize, for a lot of those years, we did a pregame show in the tent. They were in the tent with us, present. It wasn't like they were listening. Yeah, they were there.
Yeah,
and a lot of them, like those night games, they were tanked up pretty good. And it was, let me tell you something. That was so. I look back on it now and I go, how did we all survive that? It was so insane. The atmosphere. Lawyers wouldn't let you do what we did back then in that tent. It was just too crazy. But wow. It was great. I really got to see the passion of the city in a way that otherwise you would never get to see it. It's the Eagles and the Phillies, but especially the Eagles, means so much to so many people in our city.
Right. I mean, you're sure. So now I just thought of another one, but just two more. We'll wrap it up after two. But just so you also said that you there were times you kind of like crossed the line, maybe on the radio with some certain thing. I mean, so what was like your most memorable story of crossing the line?
Oh, there's so many. Oh my God, there's so many, and I could say this to you, Dad. If I had done in the last 10 years of my career things that I did in the first 10 on the radio, I would have gone 10 years. I would have gotten fired right away. I was a homophobe. Martina Navratilova, Rhea, when she first came on with us, she went, why are you saying stupid stuff like that about these people? And I went, oh, it's the way I react. It's kind of funny. No, it's not. You're stupid. Don't do it. And she reeled me in, and I was a misogynist and don't act like a girl out there. I can't. It took a long time for me to evolve into what I hope was a more open-minded person at the end of the line. And there's so many of them. Ryan, I can't. All I could say is, my one hope is the tapes from those early years will never resurface. So people will realize what a boob I was. And I was. You know what? Al wasn't. My co-host, Al Morgan, he wasn't. I was just a moron. But I was just some idiot from Rhode Island who got to a great sports city and got to experience it with the greatest fans I ever met. I was so lucky.
So for you, right, and obviously you had a great team with the morning show. Who was like the most impactful to you? Was it Rhea? Was it Al? Was it Wechter? I mean, that's a lineup there. But you're with those guys and girls, every day, almost. And it's like, who was the most important to like making you?
The person that kept me going for 33 years was Rhea Hughes. She was my sounding board. She was my idea person. She was basically the brains of the operation. But Al Morgani, in his own way, Al made all of the major decisions. Al created for a swing bowl. Al, when we had a crisis about our show, something was going on, we turned to Al to help make us decision. On the air, was not, anything he did was spontaneous. You can't even program that. He was very funny, very in the moment. And look back on it now, he was really fun to work with. And I'm not going to leave out Keith Jones, because he was just, before he became the president of the Flyers, he was a hilarious man who made all of us better. And you mentioned our producer, Joe Wechter. Without him behind the glass telling me what to do next, we wouldn't have made it. So they all in their own way were integral, absolutely integral with the success of that show. And that they worked with me, who was not always easy to work with. I was so demanding all the time, and they found a way to work with me and for us to coexist for 20, 25, 30 years. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable. I was lucky in every respect.
I mean, it is crazy stuff. So, I mean, last one. I mean, you mentioned that sports talk radio today is losing something. So what are they losing, and how does somebody like me or somebody who's watching right now that wants to get into like maybe doing what I do, or ultimately doing what you did, what do they have to do to, like, what is sports talk radio losing that somebody like me and somebody that's listening can pick up and kind of like take the reins of?
All right. Well, this is, I didn't realize how big a deal this was until I actually wrote the book and got to look at my whole career. And I went to Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. It's amazing to me even now that they let me in. And I met with my advisor the first day, and I told him I wanted to go into sports journalism. And he cringed. And he went, "Don't tell anybody that. They won't even pass you in this school. This school is about serious journalists, not people covered sports. But if you're going to do it, hold the people you're talking about, the people you're covering, accountable. Cover a sports team the way they cover City Hall, the way they cover the White House. Don't take no for an answer. Get the answers. Be a journalist." And I applied that in the 20 years that I was a journalist, and I kept applying it in the 30 years that I was on the radio. And that's why I'm raising questions about Rob Thompson. That's why I'm raising questions about Nick Sirianni. They're accountable. They're people in power who really have a lot of influence over the mood of the city you live in. So make sure you don't become a lapdog for them. And you said sports talk is changing. It's changing in that people no longer are holding these top sports figures accountable the way they did. They weren't. Not everybody did when I was there, but less are doing it now than ever before. They speak like they're part of a team. Ryan, the best advice I can give you is keep enough of a distance from this, because you can always give your honest opinion. And if somebody screws up, don't pull a punch. Your job is to point it out in strong and entertaining ways so that people will connect with you. And that's what I did. That's the way, that was my that was the way I tried to do that job for all those years I was on it. Hold them accountable. And if you do that, they don't like it, and they won't, and they'll call your boss and all that, don't back down 1 inch. Just tell them, my job is to give my opinion. I'm going to give it. Your job is to do what you do. Your job description is to deal with me. I'm the media. I'm the conduit to the fans. And hopefully, if you can just learn that, you're going to differentiate yourself from 95% of the people who are doing it right now, who are not holding people accountable the way they once did.
Wow. That is some very, very, that's top-notch advice there. And in all seriousness though, that's what I try to do on this show, on my show, is like, I look, I get it. People don't like this. We're in a time in today's world where you can't say things about people, or well, why would you say that about Rob? Whatever I don't care. I don't care. There's the real fan base out there in Philly, in the United States, that feel the same way I feel. They want the truth, honest, and just unfiltered opinion of people. And that's the way that I try to run my show. Unfiltered, keep it real, and hold people accountable. I hold, when Jalen Hurts was having his problems in the first 4 weeks, him accountable. When Sirianni was you have to hold these people accountable and also do it in a fun way where people are engaged. People want to call in and talk sports with you. And that's what I'm trying to build here. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. And
you are.
And I'm trying my best with that. And because there's the people out there, of course, who don't want the brutally honest. They want everybody's feelings, the whole 9 yards. But the 95% of Philadelphia sports talk fans, they want truth. They want honesty. They want you to show your emotions. And that's the way that I do it. That's the way that you did it. That's the way that my fans do it and my callers do it. And that's the way that, it's the way it has to be. Like you said, hold people accountable in an engaging, fun way. And just say it like it is. Say it like it is. And
I got nothing more to offer you, Ryan. You already figured it all out. Just do what you just said, and you're going to do great in this business.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I do. It's just, there's a lot of people out there, and not me, because I don't care what people say about me, and that's just honest. I post so many clips of myself on the internet from shows that I do like this, and I get the people in the comments, but that doesn't bother me. There's people out, because I could never understand hating on somebody because of their sports opinion. I could never imagine hating somebody and writing comments about people because I feel differently about Joel Embiid than you do. And that's the way it is. But there's people out there that are want to hold back because of they're afraid, and that you can't be afraid, and you have to say it like it is. So that's just it's where it is.
Yes. You got it.
That's just where it is. So, Angelo, I greatly appreciate you coming on the show. It was a lot of fun talking to Phillies, Eagles, and your book. You're wonderful. You've honestly kind of paved the way for somebody like me. And because here's the thing, and I wanted to tell you this before the show started, but we kind of started late, the whole 9 yards. So I'll just say it now. Every morning, I'm going into college now, and that's just, I'm getting into college, and my whole life driving into school, no matter what it was, I had me and my dad, my friends. It was sports talk radio. It was WIP, and you were on the radio. It was you. You were there, and you kind of, in my way that I say it, is you kind of paved the way for me to fall in love with sports talk, and that's just
wow. I'm
being honest.
I'm thrilled. There's nothing I could hear that I would want to hear any more than that, Ryan. Because when we were doing it, we were really not trying to inspire. We were just trying to get through a day. And that young people like you, with the talent you've already demonstrated just in this podcast, it's just an amazingly gratifying thing to hear. Is someday, hopefully, there will be some young guy who will email you or contact you and say, Ryan, I listened to you all the way back on Broad Street Sports, and that's made me decide that's what I wanted to do. I don't think there's much better than that. Right. It's the best. So I wish you nothing but success. I think you're well on your way to being great at this.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And it's been an absolute honor to have you on. Just like me and my friends before, because Sunday when me and you were contacting first about doing this, my friend was like, could you imagine, when we were riding to school, we listening to Cataldi in the morning show on WIP. And now 3-4 years later, you have your own show, which you never thought that you were going to end up doing, but you have your own show and you have him on your show. Wow. Just in all seriousness, think about that. I grew up listening to you every morning, and now I have my show, and you're on it as a guest. I never, even a month or two ago, like it's pretty crazy to think about.
Well, I try to, young guys like you, it's my responsibility, I feel, to help out if there's some way that I can. And you do great. Just keep doing it. And don't get discouraged when people tell you you're not great at it, and just keep plowing along, because that last philosophy you just said about holding people accountable and speaking with emotion, that's it. Do that. You'll be great. You'll be great.
Well, thank you. And I hope, I greatly appreciate you coming on my show. I greatly appreciate all the callers that called in. And of course, I appreciate your time, and for all the viewers out there. This has been fun. This has been great. This is better than I could have ever imagined. I mean, it's been wonderful. So thank you. Thank you to the viewers, to the callers. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. And if you guys go in the description box, you will see the link to my online merchandise store. Go ahead and go check that out. You can go rep my brand, your favorite Philadelphia sports podcast brand. Upcoming Eagles season, you can wear it on game days before you switch over to your Eagles jersey. Phillies postseason, I came out with a special edition red Broad Street Sports shirt for the Eagles postseason run. Go check that one out. So yeah, thank you, Angelo. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all very, very soon. Yeah. Maybe tonight after the game. We'll see, but definitely very, very soon. Thank you to everybody. I will see you all very, very soon. See you.